Doobie doobie doobie. Oh, doobie 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 doobie. Wah do, wah do, wah do. We're going doobie doo to left, doobie doo to right. Okay. Alright. Gather round, ye few remaining fans of Tolstoy, and behold, for I brought you a new backpack review, despite no one asking for it, and despite it seeming like I might have a problem at this point. But I can explain. Sort of. Anyway. Well, start this off. What I got right next to me, right over here, was the last backpack that I reviewed, which is the Mystery Ranch Street Fighter. Hadouken! And before that, my previous Mystery Ranch, which I guess I've actually just got back from grocery shopping, the Mystery Ranch Coolie. Yeah, I walk to the grocery store. It's only a mile. So I bring a backpack, trying to save the environment. Whatever. You know, Tolstoy has a bit of an eco-hippie side. Within reason, though. Within reason. By the way, Amy's Hearty Organic Soups. I really like these, but they don't keep the country French vegetable in stock. It's the one I like, damn it. Other companies are starting to catch on to this, but I noticed that these, years ago, started with a non-BPA lining. What is BPA? It is a lining that lines a lot of different canned goods, and it has an estrogen-like effect, affects your body negatively, and is likely carcinogenic. So, I think Campbell's finally caught on to that and changed that up, which is good. I just wish it hadn't taken us this long. I saw a really horrific video the other night by a user that I really like, but I shouldn't probably speak his name for safety reasons, and he compared our republic now to the Roman Republic in the end. And a lot of people have made that comparison because of the unpopular wars that Rome went through, the collection of the wealth into the hands of the few, but he made a comparison to the lead pipes. I had no idea the lead pipe situation was that bad. Oh, wow. Oh, God. And then he talked about the plastic in the oceans. Yeah, man. Anyway. I'm not going to go full eco-hippie on you right now. High energy. Come on now. Happy. I just slammed my second energy drink of the day, and I had a 3-hour workout earlier, so we're kind of in between dimensions right now. But everything I eat comes on tortillas. Wow. So, and then, so this is the, this is the Coolie. I think I called it Kool-Aid when I reviewed it, and the reason I was snickering, full disclosure, is because Coolie, it's a land formation. I would later find that out. So, kind of a land formation. It's also a weird slur from, like, the 1800s. So, when I first saw it, I'm not going to tell you what for, you can look it up if you want. Literally, the Wikipedia article on Coolie says land formation, but not to be confused with. And so, when I'm, like, looking at this, and I'm like, can I read this name out loud on YouTube? So, this is Coolie 25, so this has 25 liters. I thought that I did not need that much storage, and I wanted something more conspicuous, and so I switched to the Street Fighter. It's got the Pokeball on there for my Ivysaur. That keeps me safe from Team Rockets. Team Rockets. What would the gang around here be if this is like its own region? Team Redneck. You know, I have no idea. But anyway, you might be asking yourself why I go through so many backpacks, and one, I like reviewing them. 2, I like testing things out, but 3, I'm also kind of on the quest to find the perfect gear setup for the wide variety of outdoor activities that I do. And I've come to a couple different conclusions, but only at the cost of like going through a lot of different loadouts. The 2 factors that really decide whether or not I like you know, a piece of gear is its usefulness in every situation that I might, you know, maybe I'm rock climbing today, maybe I'm just hiking, I eventually want to get into hunting, you know what I mean? Is it good for all of those things? But then also, is it good in the everyday world, you know? So, like, for example, I like 511s. You know what I mean? These are my greens. I actually, I like the tan ones a little bit better. I bought these first because, I don't know, I just thought green. That's a woodland color, and they're kind of hideous green. But to be perfectly honest, I mean, I wear them when I'm when I'm going out hiking and when I'm, playing around on rocks in areas that I probably shouldn't be, and so it really doesn't matter what color they are, but they help absorb the sunlight in the winter when it's cold. But you can also kind of walk into a 7-Eleven and no one really notices you wearing them. They're not particularly. They're both rugged, but they can also kind of, I wouldn't wear them to a board meeting, but, for everyday walking about purposes, which is, just me most days, they work. And I kind of wanted the same thing from a backpack. I kind of have the aspirations of traveling. If I can ever get my home situation kind of fixed, like most millennials, my rent knocks out a crap ton of my pay. The old adage from the boomers was never spend more than 33% of your income on housing. Yeah, well, what happens when the housing market is destroyed and all of the landowners are price fixing, essentially? Well, you're kind of screwed, but there is a way out, and me and my brother are seeking that out right now with the help of my family. And once we get that done, I'd like to travel now that my friends have kind of bugged out. I really need to squirrel some money away and go see them. And there's a lot of other people. Some of whom will watch this, and most of whom won't. I also want to see you guys. Zach, I miss you a bunch, man. I need to get back to Maryland. So, and when I'm traveling, I would like to be, if I take a plane, if I take a train, even if I take a car, it's nice to be conspicuous. And that was my main reasoning for picking up the Street Fighter. And I said that in my review of it, was that this looked a little more conspicuous. I feel like most outdoor gear, really most outdoor activities, and specifically outdoor stores, fit on a spectrum of, on the one end, you have like hunting and ATV riding, and on the other end, you have things like, mountain biking and rock climbing. And the thing is, despite the fact that all of these people have a vested interest in the outdoors, I feel like those two worlds don't see eye to eye too much. And that's kind of just part of the paradox of being a centrist, of being somebody who's libertarian in that way. You know what I mean? It's like, you always hear eco-hippies, and I'll claim to be one of those. They always say, we're eating too much meat, and they're right. A massive amount of destruction to our environment is being caused by meat production and how much we eat meat. But we do need to eat meat, and then they always say, well, ethical sources of meat, and they always say free range. Yeah. Well, what if I told you, if you get a 308 and you shoot a deer in the lungs and it limps and then dies, that's the ultimate free range meat, son. It was jumping around and living happy in the outdoors. If you have good game laws, and for the most part, pretty much every state in the union does, the deer lived a nice, big, long, happy life and probably fucked and made little deerlets. It ate things out in the, there's nothing more free range than that, man. But for some reason, I feel like all of the, mountain bikers wouldn't really understand that, and then all of the hunters might not understand why people don't want, like, ATVs in national parks. I said all that to say this. It sounds strange, but pretty much, all the different products that you can find that, aid you in your fun time outdoor activities kind of sit on that same spectrum. And it's like, you either get a backpack that has, like, oh, the Molly on it, and it looks like you've been to Iraq like 17 times, and if you haven't, maybe it looks a little mall ninja. And then on the other end, you get, like, what's a good company? Really the North Face is all I can think of. And I've never tried any of their products, but I am interested. They originally were made, kind of to market to that, mountain biking, rock climbing. But a lot of their designs and a lot of the gear that sits on that end of the spectrum is just a little too, I don't know, Apple iPod for me. And it's hard for me to find something that sits in the center, but also does all the things that I want it to do, and, can be taken kayaking and mountain biking and just all these things. And, I was pretty content with this, and I still am. The Street Fighter is pretty decent. One of the things that I'm realizing, though, is size limitation. This is 17 liters. This is 25 liters. The Coolie is 25 liters. And ultimately, one of the things that when I kind of downsized to the Street Fighter, I told myself was, I like to focus on really light loadouts. Yeah, I always tell myself that, and then when I have to do a mission that is like, requires any more than just the bare minimum, I end up not having enough room, or it's really awkwardly packed in there, and it's not quick to access, and it's like, well, you can always bring a bigger bag and put less stuff in it, and if you need more stuff for that particular mission, you have more room. But anyway, right after I got the Street Fighter, I was on the Mystery Ranch website. I kind of have a love affair with Mystery Ranch. It took me the longest time to find a company that was, I feel like, at the center of it, serving both sides of the spectrum, which is something that I think there needs to be an outdoor store that does that. I haven't really gotten too far into Gander Mountain, but I feel like Gander Mountain floats way closer to Bass Pro, which is... Bass Pro is also not too far from the center, as opposed to Dick's Sporting Goods, which I would suggest is all the way on the other end, peddling to, I mean, they do have guns, but every time something funky happens, they yank more and more from their catalog. So, I saw this. See if I can get it in the frame. Can I get you into frame? And this is I saw this on their website. This is the Mystery Ranch RIP, or R.I.P. Ruck. And it was on their website for the longest time, probably 6 or 7 months, and then it finally went to clearing, and I don't know if they're going to make any more of these, but it was originally 130. It was on sale for 80. Yeah, I know. Patreon money, bro. Anyway... this one is 25, and this one's 22. So this is the medium. And I want to show you real quick what it looked like in the online images. Because I kind of feel like it's a little bit of a Tinder date. And what I mean when I say that is this, is it looked like that. And I guess they just found a really great way to photograph it and make it look super sexy, and I don't feel like it looks the same way IRL. Going over the design of the pack, it is an obvious throwback to a lot of the designs that were super popular during World War II for military stuff. The whole big pocket and 2 side pockets was pretty much every haversack had that. I know the Americans did. Germans definitely did, British did, the Russians, I believe, did, and the only one that I really know the name of would be like the French F1 pack, which I think is World War II, yeah. I read on the internet somewhere that John Locke in Lost is carrying some sort of weird modified French F1 pack. So that classic military look is cool. And I think the fact that it's an updated version of that makes it a little more contemporary and a little more on the other end of that spectrum, and that was attractive to me. A lot of... I love things that are updates of old designs, you know what I mean? Case in point, harnesses. So climbing harnesses. You can go back and see the review of my Black Diamond speed harness. Most climbing harnesses these days look a little Apple iPod. It looks like it was designed by Steve Jobs. They're very hipster. I don't know how else to describe that. But this one was, and I was told, was an update of, like, one of the the old 1970s style climbing harnesses. And I think that looks cool. I like mine. I absolutely adore the way that it looks by comparison to pretty much everyone else's stuff. And I thought that's what I was going to be getting with this. When I first opened it up, I was disappointed. It's grown on me, the look of it. The biggest thing that turned me off was these 2 back side pouches. I guess for whatever reason, when I was looking at it on the website, I assumed that it would be able to hold a full-size Nalgene. And it doesn't. And so my deal is, like, I get that you're referencing old World War II designs, and that's super dope, but, bro, the side pockets on every backpack, the standard is Nalgene. Why? Why would you not? Oh my lord. But, and I can't even remember what the heck I started. Like, they're just big enough to hold a pair of, like, gloves in them. Like, that's kind of just what I was using it for, and that's, maybe put your spare hiking socks. I don't even think it would be able to fit, like, a pair of thick wool socks. So these back little pouches are, this one doesn't even have anything in it. These are kind of just for show, and that's it's a bit of a Debbie Downer. That being said, though, the combination of the flap, the buckle, and the zip, so fucking cool looking, so sexy. The only thing that rivals that sexiness is this one line of super useless molly that exists on the bottom, just the bottom, of the Street Fighter. Oh, so chic, so understated, so fucking pointless. Love it. I'm not even being sarcastic. That's actually, I think that's really cool. I know that's so dumb. But I was a little disappointed that it couldn't hold a full Nalgene. I didn't think that, like, you know, the strap would, or the flap would be able to close, but this flap, however. The other thing, though, that you gotta know is that, so, Mystery Ranch is pretty famous for having these welded zippers. Big, rubberized, you know, welded zipper that are super high quality. This is the closest you're gonna get to waterproof on a pack before it's just like, what you're asking is ridiculous, like go surfing with it on and it shouldn't, you know, leak. This will truly protect the contents from most rainfall. It is not applied to the outer layer. So, there's that. What I originally also assumed is that it was just one large pouch with a flap over top of it. Because with my previous two Mystery Ranches, one large, it's basically just a pouch with zippers. A single pouch, and then this is the same with one subdivider. I don't know if I can, I can't really open the bag far enough to show you, but there is one little kind of subdivider halfway through the bag that divides up, you know, the whole of the big pouch. But this has lots of subdivision within it. And I don't know what made me think that it wouldn't. Maybe I should have done more research. I literally just kind of had it on a tab on my phone for forever until I saw that it was on sale. And I thought, oh, better get it. And well. So, this outer pouch is pretty great. It has a little, I know you probably can't see this, I've actually shot this whole video before from first-person Ashen-style perspective, and I turned on every light in my house just to get enough light. So just for perspective on, like, the weird lighting settings on this thing, I have, like, every light in my apartment turned on, to the point where, like, Duke Energy is, like, cheering and, like, throwing confetti, because they know they're going to get more money out of me. All I can think is these little adjustable lights here that we haven't moved in 3 years. You see better now? I angled the light down. Oh my god, not really. Okay. Angling second light down. Third light. There we go. So this main pouch here, I've used this for water and trying to keep clothing in it, and let me tell you about this. So, this is my Beretta wool pullover, and I really had to crunch it down to get it in there. This is one of my favorite pieces of outdoor gear. It is still wet, and I took this off halfway through the hike. Boy howdy, it's getting the crap beat out of it. It's definitely getting its paces, but wool. So, and then besides that, I was keeping my 2 liters of water in there. Yeah, the platypus, and even that was really having trouble closing the flap. I had to scrunch it down, but so that's about the extent to which it can hold things. This little back pocket. There is the main pocket. Within that there is also this little mesh pocket, which can literally just hold like a box of matches and some Daisy Steely ammo. I was going to take the pocket shot out when I was getting footage for this and take some crack shots or take some pot shots, but never ended up happening. So, it's a thing. You could fit food and water in there for a couple of days. Mainly the challenge that I have right now is clothing changes, and there is actually a change of clothing in here. But so now we go to the main pouch. And by the way, I didn't pack this ahead. I went on a hike yesterday, and these were the things that I thought I might bring with me. And I still forgot a flashlight. And I had 2 hours of sunlight left, and I had completely overshot where I thought I was supposed to be because I just can't read maps. That or the Wendigo in the forest is fucking with me. It could be either one. I think it's the latter. I would like to believe it's the latter. But, God damn. If it wasn't for those nice people who found me and were just like, bro, it's 4.4 miles back, take this road, do not go on any of the trails. You are clearly a level 1 Pokemon trainer who just has 80 Pidgeys in a Pokeball and a learning disability. So, the point of the story is that carry the right things with you. Like, flashlight, why wouldn't I have remembered that? And I just didn't switch it out onto this pack. I need to get a pack and just settle with it. So, I'm not sure how to show you this. You can get this mouth open pretty far. You ever seen a Tasmanian tiger? Look into it. It's the most beautiful and disgusting and wonderful thing. And it died, and that was back before our modern understanding of zookeeping, where we, understand that the animal should be comfortable for it to live a good life. And it was already an endangered species, and I think it went extinct in like '86. But it was one of the last big land sloths, or no, it wasn't a sloth. It was a marsupial, and it was native to Australia or Tasmania. And they're beautiful, and they kind of look like a cross between like a dog and a possum, like a big dog and a possum, or a tiger and a possum. And their head, it's like if this is where a normal dog's jaw starts, it like starts all the way back, and when its mouth opens up, it's body horror. It's very body horror. When you see it open its mouth, you're like, nah. It's really, so this thing opens up really far by comparison to the Street Fighter. So, actually, okay, I'm starting to see it. I'm just going to clear some of this stuff out. This was an emergency blanket. I thought maybe that's Jack London stories. I might stop to read. I don't know what made me think I would have time. There's so little sunlight. It's January. I don't understand. I'm sacrificing pigeons on the double time. When does the sun god come back? And I got some water purification stick. Put that cap back, bro. I thought about using this the other day to get some footage of me using the life straw, and like, I just can't do it, man. I got a lot of courage for some things, but it's just like, every time I see a puddle of water, I just think like, Giardia, and I'm like, no. So, I just want to show you like how much stuff can fit in there. Surprisingly, not a lot. Not enough. I don't know. I did bring a quick change of a shirt and quick change of socks. Because during these day hikes, I'm just sweating, and when I sweat, the stuff gets wet, and then it starts getting cold, and I start to shiver, and it's just like, well, I'm looking at Under Armour, and I don't know if Under Armour would be a good purchase or not. It's basically just poly. It's just, all of it is just plastic. It's just synthetic. Like, doesn't that, so wet plastic, will that kill you if it gets cold? I just don't know. Like, what does the Army do in Alaska? Like, what do you do playing war games in Alaska? Like, I feel like there's an answer, and I feel like it's wool long johns, and I feel like for some reason civilians just can't get access to that. I have looked into merino wool, and I'm just like, nah. I actually asked the kid at the store. He was like, oh, this is merino wool, so it's very temperate because it comes from a special sheep in Australia. And I was like, okay, do you have anything from a sheep from Scotland that was, lifting a lot of weights and smoked too much and drank? Do you have that? Because I just need that. I don't care if it's itchy, I just don't want to die. So this is kind of what the main pocket looks like. We will go over, I'm not sure what atrocity to go over first. I also have a cool new Right in the Rain pad. My boss got it for me for Christmas. Always handy. These things are great. Highly recommend. We'll go over this. So I was calling this the kimono. This like weird little like folded up robe pocket. Hey man. Quick question. What the actual fuck? What is this? I just used it for clothing, but what is this hole? What is it good for? For a notebook or something? Like, what is this? It's just like a double folded over, like, I just don't understand that design. It's, what? I don't get it. And I don't like it. So that's just one thing I just don't happen to like about it. This is, the one kind of, oh yeah, and I turned this into a medicine pouch. So you have some sort of weird set of subdivided pouches, and you've got this one. This pouch is the closest thing before you're touching the piece of plastic that is basically in all of these that acts as a frame. Unlike the other two Mystery Ranch packs that I have, the frame is more integrated, smaller and more integrated into the pack. It does not distance your back as much from the load that you're carrying. So initially I kind of thought, what goes in here, a water bladder? But there is no place for a water bladder hose to leave, so you cannot equip a water bladder unlike the other two. It also, I just wouldn't recommend putting, I tried putting my 2-liter platypus in there. No. It will, it'll feel bulgy, and it will sit poorly on your shoulders. I don't know what this pouch is for. There's also a little zipper that doesn't have a handle, doesn't have a little pinchy handle, and if you were to unzip it, you could take the frame out, take the piece of plastic out. I don't know what for. Maybe to change it out, I guess, if it gets worn out, you know, to expand the life of the bag. So then here, you have this pouch. I've turned it into a medicine pouch. Yeah, it holds everything in there pretty well. That is big enough to carry my med kit, essentially. And that's good. That's the one thing I like about it. And then the rest of it is just the pocket. However, it doesn't expand very well. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Every other pack that I've had has had some form of, like, compression straps on the side or the ability to expand. I don't... So, without that... Let's zip this up. And as always, the zippers are super high quality on these things. They will last for a long time. So the straps, that's the back, has that pretty standard padding. These guys' padding game is always on point. And comes with a chest strap. Big critique here, because it cannot equip a water bladder, there is no strap here that I was always using to basically make the flashlight, the shoulder cannon here, so you can just have a flashlight that sits on your shoulder and you don't have to hold it with your hands. Well, there's nothing like that. So that's why I didn't have a flashlight, and that's why at like 4 p.m. yesterday, I'm like looking at the sun and the angle, and I'm like, fuck. You know, and, well, I should have thought about that before I left. But the other thing is it doesn't have a waist strap. There's no waist strap. That was something that I kind of thought was necessary. And my complaint, ironically, initially with the Cooley 25 was that that waist strap was far too prominent. See that big old tongue sticking out there? You know, I thought that's kind of, you don't need that. And then this one did have a waist strap, but no real tongue, and this one just does not have a waist strap. Overall, I thought that this was going to be really uncomfortable to shoulder, but no, I put it through its paces, and actually I have to admit, it's a really decent backpack. No major complaints aside from what I've gone over. I just don't know if it's for me. I don't know. I think at this point, I'm tempted to... I don't think I'm going to keep it. I really don't know. Personally, I think I prefer the style of the Street Fighter. Very much more clean design. But the problem is that that only holds 17 liters. But then if that's the case, then, well, I don't know. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this. I really only lightly used it, and it definitely holds up. The whole thing, I think, is made of, like, Endura nylon, which is, like, one of the toughest materials to make anything out of. Anything that's fabric. And I think if I need to sell this to make the money back. Maybe on, like, eBay or something like that. If I can just make a quick turnaround. What the heck is in the bottom? Oh, right, yeah. So if I can just, like, maybe sell this, try to make some of the money back. So I kind of don't know what I'm doing with my loadouts these days. I definitely have to get rid of some of these backpacks, though, because it is getting ridiculous. I definitely don't need all of them, but I remember having a conversation with a buddy a long time ago about how much aesthetics matter or not. He kept on saying aesthetic coherence, which is an interesting phrase, and I guess I disagreed at the time, and I was like, no, man, it's just all functionality, who cares? But, like, I don't know, he's kind of right. Looks do sort of matter, and I guess that's the problem is I just can't find that sweet spot. Mr. Ranch has definitely provided the closest I've gotten to that sweet spot, but, well, I saw this, and I thought it was alluring, and it went on sale, but I don't think this is going to be what I keep hiking with. There's really nothing wrong with it. It's just, now that I've actually had it and tried it, I don't think it's my thing.
You did?
Oh, I have no idea how to, anyway.
Well, I didn't want to make noises for you.
No, I just don't even know what to say at this point. It's like... I just got this new backpack, and I'm already thinking about the North Face Borealis pack. Saw a girl the other day in the park, had that, and she was keeping up pace. She turned back to look at me and be like, hey, because I was about to overtake her, and I can't tell if it's a you're creepy hey, or like a hey, how you doing hey. But,
was there like an in-between?
yeah, it was that, what she said, and I couldn't decipher it, so I was just like hiking double time, because I just wanted to pass her so that she wouldn't feel freaked out, but there was a chafing within my loins that could not be described by...
Ah, the red ass.
Yo, fucking A, dude. You know why? Because I didn't pack my fucking goose grease, man. Dude, Glide is necessary. Necessary for your butt. Now I have to edit. Editing takes so much time. And no one watches.
You could do something silly, get people's attention.
Yeah, it's something I used to do. I realized that a lot of my views were probably just people tuning in to see how much of a crackhead I was. Because I guess they didn't recognize that it was like a fucking... It's all a joke.
Jokes are like the little cherries on top, the little...
Yeah, we can't have humor no more, man. It's current year.
You never, ever give up your sense of humor.
Don't you just... Hey! That's all.